Okay, so hi, good evening, everyone. Today we welcome you for this kaleidoscope session, curating interior design journey with Sonal and Aniketh here and Devyani from uh, Pottery. Yeah. So yes, okay. So we are going to communicate with them. We are going to understand certain things about them. We are going to understand the journey they have been through and how it has been so exciting for them. So I'm sure everybody is waiting for this journey and for this communication to happen. Before that, I would take this opportunity to introduce and I'm sure some of you are aware of what and is. And for those of us who are not aware, let me introduce you. So basically, and is a brainchild of IIED, which is Indian Institute of Art and Design. Yeah, and design it's a design upscaling platform that aims to make design education accessible, affordable, and industry relevant. Yeah. So here, what we create is this an opportunity for graduates or and working professionals to learn and work at the same time. Yeah, we have some part-time courses for them in the fields of graphic design and in the fields of interior design. Majorly, we are going to talk about and explore the journey of how interior design journey looks like. Yeah. And these courses that we make are really, make you very industry ready. Of course, we are working on real life, real world design projects. And something that is as a USP used here is also a placement support. Yeah. So this is an engaging online learning experience that combines human support and technology. Yeah. So it's my pleasure to introduce both of you here. So basically, I can start with Devyani Singh. Yeah, she is somebody who has started, her studio, and she is known for, and she's an interior designer and a consultant. She holds a master's of luxury design from a prestigious University of Nava in Milan. Yeah, and known for her passion for artistry and bespoke furnishing. Devyani has also been featured on numerous platforms, yeah, and has been specifically, she has conceptualized so many designs, so many furnitures, basically, and she has implemented designs in, homes, boutique hotels, offices with her strategic and elegant designs. Yeah, so we'll be hearing from her and her journey of how did she started, how did this seed actually planted in her and how she is taking it forward. Yeah. Also, we have with us Aniketh Bafna and her partner Sonal Motha. Yeah, both of them are the founders of Studio IPSA, right? And they were like real estate professionals initially, yeah, and now they were always passionate about interior designing. And the studio is dedicated to creating spaces that mirror a client's individuality. Yeah. So of course, though it was a humble beginning for them, but it has really grown, over the years, and they really focus on community as creatives, and they are really focused on creative people, yeah, community of creatives constantly pushing the boundaries of design, right? And there's a style, there's a USP of the studio also that they really, this team thrives on versatility and the challenge of bringing diverse projects to life. Yeah, their ethos centers on devotion, detail, and the joy of creating spaces that truly resonate with the people who inhabit in them. Yeah. So it's my pleasure again to be able to, invite you here and to thank you for taking out some time to be, to come here and start your discussion. So I think it's time we should start your discussion. Yeah. So I think I will ask Devyani first that what is it that really, so what you were doing before and why did you actually wanted to explore this journey ahead? And yeah, how is it been?
So I did my undergrad in management, and I specialized into accounting and finance. So that is what I did initially. That is what was planned to. And then when I did my bachelor's, I figured that I was not cut out for the typical, 9 to 5 corporate or a banking job. I did intern with the bank for a bit, and that's when I realized that this is not something that I want to do. I wanted to do something which was a little more creative, because all the while when I was growing up, I was a creative person, but there wasn't too much knowledge about interior designing as a profession when I was growing up. Architecture was definitely something that everyone knew of, but interior design, like interior designer as a profession, was not something which was spoken about too much. So I never thought of it. When I got out of school, I never thought of taking that up as taking that up formally, and to sort of build a career into that field. And then when I did my undergrad, and coincidentally, it was also when we were renovating our ancestral property back home in Jaipur. That's where I belong. And I tried my hands at it, and it was a very long project, and it went on for a couple of years, and we didn't have any formal architect, or we just had a contractor basically who we were working with. And that's when I kind of delved deeper into the process, and that's when I got more intrigued, and I said, okay, this is something that definitely interests me. And then of course, coming from the state of Rajasthan, which is very culturally very rich, and it's known for its architecture, and frescoes, and so many other architecture related elements, even furniture for that matter. That's how I slowly, decided to get into this field. And I started Coterie in 2014. So it's going to be like, already been 10 years. We're in our 11th year now. I've done projects in the residential segment. I've majorly in the residential segment. I've done corporate offices also, and a couple of boutique properties as well, like boutique hotels. Now, talking about the journey, of course, it's not been easy. The first, I would say, 5 or 6 years were very difficult, because, and as they say, you learn as you grow. I learned on the job quite a bit of it. I did suffer some financial losses also. The initial projects didn't really make me any money. I was literally paying out of my pocket, to be very honest. But now, I mean, when I look back at things, I think it's all been worth it. I'm happy. I'm in a happy space professionally. I'm happy doing what I'm doing right now. We're doing some good work, and I just hope that I continue to grow Coterie. We want to expand further, so that's the plan for now. Our studio is located in Jaipur. We're working pan India, and we're hoping to expand our studio into a couple of more cities across the globe. So that's the plan for now. Let's see how that goes.
Great. It sounds like a fun journey, and of course, with a lot of challenges. I think I'll come back to your challenges after I get to know something about Studio IPSA. Yeah, and I really want to know why the name IPSA.
You want to go?
Yes, so initially the studio was called UNI Designs when it was incepted. But I think with the coming up of Godrej UNR's designs, and we wanted to just give a revamp or a look to the company. So we rebranded it, and we had unanimously come up with this name called IPSA, and IPSA just means desire. It means ambition. And I think it rightly points out the direction that the company or the studio is going towards. So we have the desire to do more and more. We're very, very ambitious in terms of where we want to be and how we want to get there. And I think that's why the name.
Nice. IPSA means desire. Nice. Okay, so how is this desire fulfilling over the years? And I'm sure we would like to know your journey also. That how did you start, and why did you start, and how is it going so far?
So I started this studio back in 2016. It was not a calling. I was not passionate about interior designing as such. It was mostly situational. I was working in a real estate firm as a sales and marketing manager, before which I was working in a pharmaceutical industry as a quality control analyst. So when I was working as a sales and marketing head, that's when I thought, this is something that I don't want to do, because I had to work even on weekends. And because of the 4 years of experience in sales and marketing, I realized the only thing that I could do, if not this, was space planning, because I had to do that while making a sale. And that's why I started this studio in 2016. 2019 is when Sonal joined UNI Designs. We were back then known as UNI Designs. She became a partner since 2019. So it's been 7 years now that we are in the field right now. So this was why we started the studio. However, this is not why we are continuing it. 2019-20 is when I at least realized that this has become my passion. So I specifically am saying this is for all the listeners or viewers out there. You sometimes don't have to be passionate about what, to start something. Sometimes you just need to start. You can become passionate after you start, when you're in the process, in the journey. So this is something that I wanted to specify.
Tavleen, you're on mute. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Great to know that. I think this is a question for both of you now. I have another question for both of you. That, both of you are coming in from different backgrounds. Okay. You are still coming in from a similar, you were still into sales, Aniket. But, you still knew something about the retail industry. But however, Devyani, you are coming in from a totally different background. So what is it that, it took you from, like, what were the initial steps that, you took? And then when did you really realize that, okay, this is something that I really want to do in life? What was that, eureka moment maybe for you guys?
I think eureka moment for me at least was when Sonal became a partner. It was then I realized, because the way she actually, told me or informed me about what design actually is, and how it works. It then just hit me when a couple of projects were done based on her input, and that's when I realized, no, this is what it is. And that's when I think from 2020 till now is when we actually transformed. I would say 2019-20 was a tipping point. Yeah, what do you think? I think around that.
So my story is also very similar to Devyani's story. I come from an industrial engineering and management background. And this happened to me when I quit my job, 9 to 5, was not working. It was not giving me enough in terms of exploring my creativity. So then when I was doing my mom's house, very, very similar. When I was doing my mom's house, it really struck me that, this is my calling. And I was really, really passionate about where things are done. And then I went ahead and I did my diploma in interior designing. And then we joined the studio. I joined UNI Designs, and slowly we explored and we learned together. And I think that's what Aniketh meant to say, that 2020 was the tipping point, because this was my first job. This was him understanding about core interiors the first time. So we evolved together, we learned a lot together. And I think that's why the studio is where it is now. We never had boundaries. We were open to learning, and we were just very, very passionate about what we were doing.
I think it's a small world. People share their stories. As Sonal was mentioning that, she shares her story like Devyani. So Devyani, what are your thoughts on this? That what was your eureka moment? Like, okay, this is something that I really want.
I think it's for me, there was not one single eureka moment. I think it's grown over the years. Obviously, the first was when like the family project that I was doing, when that got done, and there were a lot of people who had seen it in its original form, and then when they came over when it was completed, and when people said that, oh, we don't believe you didn't have an architect on board, how could you do this? Because there were structural changes also that were involved, and the structure was made in a manner, it was not made with those the typical columns and stuff. So there was a lot of challenges that we faced there, and obviously it's not like I knew everything in the first go. So there was a lot of consultation with my father, who again does not belong to the architecture background at all. He was in the civil services, but he had an inclination towards architecture, and he had seen how things were built back in the day. So with him, and then some older contractors and things like that. So that was the first moment. Then I moved to Gurgaon. I got married in the end of 2014, and my husband was back then based in Gurgaon. So we were in Gurgaon, and obviously with me, Kotri also moved to Gurgaon. And I think the first few projects that I did there, and the fact that, in a city like Delhi, when you would meet people and they say, oh, we've heard of the Kotri, or, we know somebody through and through who, got their interiors done from you. So I think little, like, small instances like that, it obviously gave me joy over the years. And I think by 2018, I was sure that this is what I want to do. So the first 3-4 years, of course, there were times when I felt that, okay, is this something that I really want to do? Also because, being a female, I mean, as cliched as it may sound, there were times when I would go on site, and the contractors or the team that would be working there, they wouldn't take you seriously, because they were like, oh, she's a young girl. I was probably all of 24, 25 back then, and they were like, oh, she's a young girl, what does she even know? But now, like, and over the years, you've seen that change. Now when you go, there are 10 people standing around you on site, and they give you that respect. They will come and consult you. I think things like that is what makes you feel good about what you're doing. So I think that I think those couple of those things combined all together would be what kind of struck it for me.
Absolutely. I think this is something that, again, even I have faced, because I also belong to an architecture background, and I back then also started my own firm. And similar thing that you mentioned, that something that, people don't take you seriously on sites. And I was also very young at that time. I was like, 24 again, similar to you. And that's why I always used to take my, a guy friend with me, that please come with me so that people take me seriously. So yeah, that really happens. And I think, but it is all about once or twice, just a matter of 1 or 2 meetings. And then when they know that they are getting instructions from you, then everything falls in place, and they start actually, circling around you and knowing that, okay, what, madam, ye bata dijiye, iska kya karna hai. Yeah, so that happened, and I think that is something similar that I also share. Okay, so both of you, like, as I think Sonal was also mentioning that, like, she was coming in from a different background, and she chose to upskill herself and, gain a diploma in interior, and then she started working with a studio, and now she's as a partner here, right? So actually something similar is, what we do at IND. There are some people who are, willing to take this as a career, or they are simply interested in pursuing this as their careers. And, often this question comes to us, like, I have taken so many interviews of students, and they keep asking me that, tell me something, that will I be able to gain that confidence that I'm able to, actually go and work on sites. So our, motive is to be able to give them certain experience, towards the, like, in the curriculum itself, that we are giving them some projects to work on. And then as that our project, they gain some confidence within the, the curriculum that we have designed for them. Then they prepare as a portfolio for them, and then they move ahead, and, they start exploring the field out there. But I would like to know that, I'm sure, I think Sonal would be able to answer this better, because she has been through that journey of actually like, taking a course and then entering the field and then being a partner there, right? So what is it that you feel are the transitional phases, and how did you overcome them?
So honestly, when I did my diploma, which was just about a year, I think through that 1 year, I kind of realized that the best way to learn is to learn on the job, at least here. Because theoretically, it's good to have your basics, but the real world is something else. So knowing a lot, exploring a lot, being very aware of the industry trends, being very aware of technology, being very aware of what's available in market and not in terms of materiality. So there are basics in the course, but then I did realize that now to get onto a field is something that will really give me a push in terms of my confidence. because designing something on paper is very, very different from designing something in real. And I think that transition happened. But what really, I think, got me going is my own desire, my own inquisitiveness to learn more. So not just sticking to textbooks or not just sticking to workshops, not just sticking to internal college workshops, but also going beyond, trying to network, trying to understand, trying to ask people, ask around. And then I think internship was what I was looking at. And that was when I joined UNI. So the core reality of what happens on site and how designs are really put into vision is something that I learned on the job. So I think the only way to really be confident about yourself is constant learning. And that learning happens throughout. There's no limit to it. It's even today I'm learning, and that just adds to your confidence of how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
How
I think
aware
this-
you are. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this industry itself, is such a challenging industry, or it's such a inviting industry also to be able to learn throughout. So we often tell our learners that, you're not just wearing one hat. There are so many hats that you're wearing. You are a researcher, you are a learner, you're also a planner, you're also somebody who's going to actually, put together everything. And the best thing is that you are able to communicate whatever the process that you have been through. You are able to communicate to your client. And we often say that, if you have done entire everything, you have also researched upon everything, like the materials required or what are the trends in the, industry. You have researched, then you have also tried to gather lots of information about what's happening. Then you have also planned your, the design that you're working on. Then you've also have had a, knowledge, you have like quite, you're well aware about the site that you're working on. But if you're not able to communicate your ideas to your clients, then how do you actually, proceed further? And for that, you really need to be able to, so what is it that you think? And this is a question for, I think, both of you, like Devyani, Aniket, and Sonal, however, that what is it that really makes you an interior designer, and how are you able to pitch projects, and how are you able to convince your clients that, okay, this is the design that I have for you? I think that's a difficult one, but yeah.
So I think how do we pitch? I mean, you, of course, like you said, you have to be very good with your communication skills, because it's not only about what you're thinking, but you have to put it out there for the other person to understand what you have in mind. You have to definitely know a lot more than your client does, because that's the reason they're coming to you. And why I'm saying this is because in today's time, the client is very well informed. Most clients that come to us, they're quite well informed in terms of, they not only have a Pinterest board ready, but they also are aware of the kind of materials that are available in the market. They've done a bit of research. They've spoken to people who've, just gotten their spaces done up. So then they're not totally unaware of things. So you've got to know what you're doing. You have to be updated about whatever is available in the market, whether it's in terms of materials or technology, like Sonal said. You have to know everything. And not just that, you have to know about the cost factors involved as well. You can't be pitching a material and not be aware of how much it's going to cost the client. Every project, big or small, comes with a budget, whatever that may be, but there is a budget that is involved. So you have to, it's a lot of things. And then, of course, you also need to understand, as designers, to be able to do full justice to a project, it has to be something which must align with your design ideology. Now, if I come across, a lot of times we are approached by clients where I feel that their design ideology is totally different from what I can deliver, or what my forte is. And I tell them upfront, I said, this is, I don't think I'll be able to do justice to this, because when you commit to a project, you're not committing for a couple of weeks, right? You're committing for a longer period of time. It could range from a couple of months to sometimes even a year or longer, depending on the nature of the project. So you have to be happy about what you're doing. You have to, like I said, align with the design aesthetics. For For instance, if I'm not okay with what the client wants, how am I going to, be happy? Like, how am I going to do justice? Basically, let me put it simply there. So I think that is very important, and communication is of course very important, especially when you're doing things like, say, a family home where there are people from different age groups that are involved, and everybody has a say in terms of what they want. And then, I mean, I have been in situations wherein the families fighting among themselves in terms of, oh, no, what I want is better, and then there'll be people who will say what, and they want you to mediate. Eventually, they'll be like, no, you tell us. You are the best judge. You tell us. And then, so communication, of course, is important. You have to be very patient. I think that is important. It's very easy to lose your patience. You're constantly dealing with so many people, whether it is on site or with your clients or with your teams. I think patience is very, very important. If you're hot-headed, I don't think you can really sustain for long in this field, because then you'll constantly, like, you'll not be in a happy space mentally. So I think patience is very important. You have to be a people's person. You have to be okay with dealing with people. Of course, you have to draw boundaries somewhere that, I mean, you can't be talking to a client at 10 o'clock in the night, but during working hours, you have to be available to people. You have to be, well versed with what is happening on each of your projects. Even if you're handling multiple projects and you have a very good team under you, you still have to know the nitty gritty of each project. You can't not be aware of what is happening on which project. So I think it's just a mix of things.
Right. I would like to add something.
Yeah.
How do you pitch is what you asked, right? How do you pitch to clients? See, the first thing that we'll have to look at is the education system. The courses, not only you or maybe everybody who provides has courses. You're teaching the students to design, to use the softwares, but I think somewhere you're not teaching how to deal with people, be it communication, be it behavioral science, be it business. So I think we need to add that in the curriculum. I mean, I've seen the best of designers behind the systems, but they can't speak. They can't communicate. I think is the first thing that we need to do as a community. It's as simple as that. Second thing, coming how to pitch. Let's say you cross that hurdle and then you started a studio and you want to communicate. See, there are two aspects to it. A studio which is just started, a freelancer, and a studio which is established. A studio which is established will not have to pitch like how, verbally. The portfolio, the credibility via features and your publications will speak for them. A person who's just started, I think I would say, if you're not good in speaking at that stage because you've just started, then I don't think it's going to, be easy to continue. If everybody understands that every person is a salesman by default, whatever you do, whatever product you have, whatever service you're into, you have to be first a salesman. You have to know how to sell. I think that is what anyone needs to understand. Initially, when you're pitching, maybe have a website, maybe have everything ready when you're going to talk to a client. I'm talking about a situation where you just started. You don't have a portfolio. What do you do then? Right? That's when your salesmanship, the way you speak will count. Okay, not everybody is lucky to have, I mean, someone in the family or friends to offer them to do a home. Not everybody would be fortunate enough. That's what you do. You have to do whatever that comes and build a portfolio, be it small, be it big. And once you have a portfolio ready, understand what you want to do. Why do you want to do it? Is it for the money? Is it because you are passionate about it? And then, find your niche and then work towards it. Yeah.
I think that was nicely put. And what do you think that, after this, when we are mentioning that, okay, communication is very important and to have a portfolio is very important, to be able to have, like, initially you can have a website so that people are able to, you are visible basically for the audience to be able to come to you and, get their projects done from you. So what do you think that, what to expect from a career in this sector? What should we expect? That, for example, if somebody is really passionate about interior designing, but what are the hard truths that, they really have to face? And then, actually, after they overcome them, then they can actually be successful in because I'm sure, both of you as studios are not coming in from a background of architecture or, interior designing. But yes, but I'm sure you would have faced some competition from, who are existing architects. And, there are studios amongst, I'm sure in Jaipur also, that there are so many studios who are run by architects. So why would somebody come to you instead of them?
See,
Yeah.
okay,
No, Aniket,
go ahead.
no, Aniket, go first.
All right. See, I think there's a lot of work for everyone. There's a lot of work. I don't think personally there's any kind of competition. We don't feel that, at least. There's a different kind of work for different niche, for different kind of designers, for different architects, what you want to do. And even with the real estate booming now, I don't think there's an issue going to be an issue as such. However, you have to keep yourself updated. You'll have to keep learning, and it's a continuous process. There are no hurdles that you cross and you will succeed. It's not going to be like that. If that happens, that means you're doing something wrong. All right, you will always have hurdles to cross, and that is the clear, that's when you realize that you're growing. If you constantly have hurdles, the key is to overcome the hurdles throughout the journey. That's the key. Even till the last day, you will have hurdles. So I think it's a very good time to start a career. Challenges will be on a daily basis, be it the designers, your team, leaving on next day of the joining date, and your social media not working, and sometimes even the clients could be a hurdle, and you want to cancel out on them. So I think you just need to deal. And nowadays, I think it's become so friendly, the community. You can actually, there are groups or in different cities where there are designers, you can actually seek help. If I have any, it's become very easy now to start, a career with interior design. Yeah.
But coming to what do you expect as a career option in terms of interior design is, I think you need to be, communication is of course very important, but just good communication skills, say in English or any other language, is not what we are looking at. You need to know the design language. And that's when you really create that niche for yourselves. The person speaks design and he knows what he's talking about, or she knows what she's talking about. Apart from communication, really being up to date with what's happening around you, really being involved in terms of knowing what are the technological advances and how can you incorporate that in your designing. Really being a good multitasker, because you are going to be doing a lot of different, you are going to basically be doing a lot of different things under your one portfolio. Managing time, because timelines are going to be stringent at times, and timelines are going to really cost you money. And I think just managing your tasks well and planning your tasks well. So that's very, very crucial. And those are a few things. And of course, business acumen, having the business acumen to do it and take it forward and not run into losses and, try to scale up. I think those are what every student would expect when they are choosing a career in interior designing.
Yeah. Devyani, you wanted to add something?
I think Aniket and Sonal have pretty much covered everything that I would have wanted to say as well. In terms of picking this up as a career, if you talk about how the market is, I think let me talk about tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities here, because tier 1, we all know that the metros, they're booming. They were always on the top of the game, right? Now I'm based in Jaipur now, which is a tier 2 city. Now in a city like Jaipur also, there is work for everybody. There are multiple designers, there are multiple architects, but like Aniket said, there's work for everybody. Nobody's sitting idle. You just have to know what you're doing. You have to be good at what you're doing. You have to be passionate about what you're doing and deliver your best. And there will be work. Work will come to you. People will see your work. They will approach you. People will come to you because they're exploring options. Usually, when people come to you, you're not the only person that they're going to meet. There are clients who do that also, that, you know, they've made up their mind when they come to you. But then there are clients who come to you and meet you, and they're simultaneously also meeting other designers. And at that point, I think your communication skills, how well you present yourself, how well you can, you know, convince them that why you are the right person to go ahead with, will make all the difference. That could be just by the way you talk. It could be your portfolio. It could be, you know, how well you can understand what they're trying to say. It could be a mix of things there. But I think there's work for everybody. And it's only going to grow. There is no looking back, because I think people also now understand that, you know, earlier, I mean, 5-7 years down the line, I mean, 5-7 years back in time, people used to, you know, still be a little apprehensive when it came to paying a fee, you know, to a designer, because they just felt that, oh, you know, maybe we can save up on that money and use it somewhere else. But now people are smart enough to understand that paying that fee is actually beneficial for them in a lot many ways. You know, I've had clients where we've only designed the project in the past and we didn't take it up on a turnkey basis. And, you know, I've had those clients come to me and tell me that we should have just gone ahead with you and, you know, given it to you on a turnkey basis, because now we've realized that we've not only spent all our money in the first phase, like we've over exceeded our budget by multiple times, and we've also, you know, lost out on time, you know, where we were expecting a handover in, say, 4 months or 6 months. We've already crossed that deadline and we are nowhere close to a handover. So, you know, a lot of things like that. So people are smart, they understand. Also, people don't have the time anymore, you know. 10 years down the line, I mean, 10 years back, people did have maybe a little more free time at hand. I think now everybody is very busy, even if it's a homemaker or a business person or anybody or a professional, but people don't have the time. So while there is knowledge available on the internet about everything, still, you know, to be able to pick the right thing, it's difficult. It's not as easy as it sounds. So people are smart, and this industry, I think, is just going to grow. There is no looking back, because people will buy homes, they will need your service. People want to renovate a space, they will need your service. And this is not just limited to residential spaces. It's, you know, whether it's a restaurant, a cafe, or any commercial project. So there's lots of work. You just need to love what you're doing, and you know, go in it with all your heart and mind.
Yeah, I think this experience both of you that shared will really definitely benefit our attendees here. So adding on to what you know, Aniket was also mentioning, that as design schools, what are we supposed to add on to our curriculum? So, you know, considering that we also did this, that, you know, so our curriculum looks like that, you know, for our diploma course, we have 4 modules. The first module comes in where we are setting the basics right for them. So we are setting in all the fundamental knowledge right for them, right? And in the second module itself, we are going to let them find a client and then actually design a space for them. Yeah. So we are trying to give them mentorship throughout that, you know, design process. So more than the software, we often say this, that, you know, and we are not focusing just on the software. Of course, software is one of the tools that you need to know so that you're able to convert your ideas into visual representation. But it is not it, right? We are supposed to look into the design process. So that is something which we actually, you know, help them understand that, okay, when you actually know that who are you designing for, that is your client, you should know what are their needs and to be able to ask them the right questions. And whenever, whatever they are mentioning, to be able to actually carve out what is actually the need of the client is something that we teach here, right? And at the same time, we also let them know that, okay, you do not just end by, you know, just providing them one design. You have to provide them options. You have to work on different options. And apart from that, since we are also working in a cohort, so, you know, we online learning has some of course benefits also, that we have people joining in from different states. So because of that, what happens is that we get to see projects of different states and different typologies. So, you know, as a cohort, we are able to see that, okay, this is something which is happening in South India. This is something that is happening in the east of India. This is something which is happening in North India, like that. And it sometimes the learning becomes very interesting in terms of, you know, what is different in case we are down south, and what is different when we are in north. Yeah. So that is interesting. That happens. And yeah. So having said that, again, I think this is another question, and I hope this can be the last question before we move on to the Q&A. So what do you think, is the demand, actually you've already covered the demand, but if we ask as placement trends in the industry, so somebody who's trying to open their own firm or trying to start their own setup versus somebody who really wants to work under somebody, gather some experience and then move towards that journey of actually starting their own setup. So what do you think, how is the market in that case?
I mean, there's room for both the options. I mean, there is no hard and fast rule that you have to you have to choose a certain path. What I personally think, in my opinion, is whatever it is, whatever works for you. I mean, every individual is different. What works for me might not be working for him or her. You need to understand what kind of a person you are, and you have to choose that path. For some, experience, working somewhere, gaining that experience, and then starting by themselves works fine. Then it's okay. There's no right or wrong in this. But few of them who think they would directly want to jump into it and learn as in the process, that is also fine. I think that is what I have to say. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah. Also, I think you need to be brave enough to get into the entrepreneurial zone as completely out of college. But I think if there's a means and a way in which you have some kind of support or some kind of mentorship or some kind of, say this industry, in particularly about this industry, if you are in touch with some good contractors, then why not? If you feel that that will be a base where you just design and you let out a project and don't do everything turnkey, then you start your design. But and then slowly learn on the job.
Yeah. What about you, Devyani? What are your thoughts on this?
I think I agree with them because I started out on my own, but like Sonal put it, I had support from my family as well. I mean, if I didn't have that, uh, it would have probably been very difficult for me to sustain, especially in the first few years. So I think it depends individually. You have to be okay with what you're doing. Of course, having some hands-on experience of working with a firm or with a studio has its own benefits. But then, of course, if you're getting like good projects, that you can work on, that you think are I mean, something that you would want to do, then by all means, go ahead, uh, with freelancing or setting up a studio or a space of your own. But in my experience, like from what I've seen, like all the, like, we do work with a lot of freshers and interns as well in the studio. I think if I talk to them, they all feel that, gaining experience by working with a firm or a studio first definitely helps them a lot more than just starting out on their own. And I mean, I've had some people work with me who where the family, like somebody in the family was into interiors and architect from the architectural background, but they just felt that working with someone else would give them a lot more um, exposure, will make them understand things in a different light, as opposed to just working in a guarded environment where they have somebody from the family as a mentor. So each to his or her own, I think. But yeah, I mean, of course, having experience and having worked on a few projects before starting out on your own, of course, has its own benefits as well.
Yeah. So I think out of the conversation that we have had with all three of you, I think we can also like, just come out to the conclusion that interior designing or this industry is not like, a cakewalk, but you'll have to like go through a lot of hurdles in life in your journey. But definitely, I think if you are committed enough, if you are aware enough, if you have the zeal to do what you really are passionate for, then I think you can make it. And I can see, the smiles and the pride in them that yes, whatever both the studios are doing, they're really proud of what they are doing. And I am sure that, this really, actually, this is something that they would really want to wake up in the morning and think about. Sometimes I'm sure 9 to 5 jobs are like that, you just really don't want to. Why do you say that? Oh, shit, there's another Monday. I'm sure there are days in our practice also that you really don't want to go to work. but definitely there's something that brings you back, and you are like, let me go back, and and I'm sure we are all aware that Devyani is on her vacation, but still she is here to be able to share her journey, so we can understand that how precious and how important she give this work. Yeah. So I'm sure. So I think now we have reached that stage where we are open to Q&A. So everybody is requested to put in their questions in the Q&A box and not in the chat box, and we can take questions one by one. Yeah. So there's a question already. Though it is in the chat box, I request everybody to put it on the Q&A. So it is, will someone who doesn't have a diploma in interior designing be able to get an internship? Yeah, anybody would want
No,
to
no,
answer?
no. The actual, to be honest, I mean, if you don't have, I'm not saying diploma or anything, you need to have some basic knowledge. Either you work with a carpenter for 6 months, you know your basics, you learn the software yourself, you on a course online. You need to know the basic. I'm not saying you need a course from a reputed college. You need to know the basics, and that is what you need at least to get an internship, at least at Studio IMSA.
Yeah, so some basic knowledge, some fundamental knowledge about the industry will help you actually move forward towards even taking up an internship.
Absolutely.
Because of
Yes, and
course they would want to
design.
know. Yeah, Devyani.
No, I agree. I mean, it works the same way for us also. Uh, if you say come with a background in say medicine to me and tell me that I want an internship, I mean, I don't see the reason why I would give you an internship over somebody who has either like some experience, some work experience, or some degree in the relevant field. So having a degree definitely helps.
So I think all the firms are aware of this fact that if somebody is coming in for an internship, they are coming in to learn something. But at the same time, the firms are also looking in for some help at their end also. Yeah. So some basic knowledge, they would readily, happily be guiding you and helping you with your journey. But at least some basic knowledge should be there. Yeah. Okay. So we have another question. Ankita is asking, I have a 3D visualizer for the past decade and want to grow by doing an interior designer course. Right now, I am a mom of 6 months old, so I can't travel, and in Bhubaneswar, there are no good courses of interior design. So please guide me. What steps should I take next?
I think that's a question for And Academy.
Yeah, you can definitely apply for and we offer part-time online, 100% online learning. So yeah, you can send your this 3D visualizer of yours to And Academy, and we can definitely help. For that, you'll have to go through a lot of steps. So you can maybe start with those steps. Yeah. Yeah, Ankita, I hope that answers your question. Okay. The second question is from Madhuri. How much does it cost to set up a studio? Is a certificate program as good to get an internship as does a diploma? Yeah. So I think the first question is for you guys. How much cost does it take to set up a studio?
So honestly, I think it depends on the way you want to run your studio, because there are a lot of people who work. The payment schedule is split in a way that there's not too much on your shoulder, and whatever the client is paying, that is what has been being delivered. So the initial cost of setting up the studio, I think, would be the basic cost if you really want to have your own place, if you want to have, say, your computers, your systems, and if you want to. So it depends on the scale, actually. It depends on how big you want to go out, or if you want to just start yourself at home with yourself, you being the only person taking care of everything. So it depends. But then you could divide things in a way that the burden is not on your shoulders, and as the client is paying for it, you deliver. Yeah. So if you want to start a studio early, it can start at the most minimal cost, which is just maybe investing in a good system, and your travel costs maybe to the side back and forth. But otherwise, I think depends on how big you want to start.
Absolutely, I agree. Devyani, do you want to add something to this?
No, I think she's covered it. So no, whatever she said is what I would have wanted to say anyways. So.
Yeah. Aniket, do you have any other thoughts on the same?
Yeah, so it's pretty much how it is. I mean, again, the kind of interior designing studio you want to run. It is if you want to get into this corporate world where I mean, modular, I would say, then you can raise your funding and all that can happen and go all out. Put crores into it and then just keep doing it and then till you get your profit. Or you take slow, till you see how it is, get one client, you see how much your expenses, what is understand the system. So from zero to whatever you can start your studio with.
And the second part of the question, I think I'll help you answer. I'll help you with that. Is a certificate program as good to get an internship or so basically it totally depends on what kind of projects do you want to work on. So at and the certificate program offers like the residential aspect and the diploma. In the diploma we also cover commercial. So it's upon you. If you really want to explore the commercial aspect, then you can definitely go for a diploma. Yeah. Okay. Charu is asking how important is the knowledge of different softwares? Yeah. Yeah.
To start off with, like I mentioned, if you're setting up your own studio and you're this one-man force, then I think a basic knowledge of everything. Otherwise, you'll have to outsource most of the things. And I'm not sure if everybody knows that when Aniketh started the studio, he did start off without a diploma or without a course, but he did learn all the softwares using an online course. So I think initially to start off with, I think it is very essential. It's essential that you have basic running knowledge of all these softwares, because even if you want to outsource things, you need to understand some technicalities.
Absolutely.
To find one software which can do all of this, definitely you can go ahead with that. If you know that there are definitely multiple softwares which do all of this, then definitely you'll have to learn all those softwares. Yeah. So yes, if you are like Sonal mentioned that if you are a one-man army, then of course you should know or you should have all your equipments ready with. Yeah. Okay. Rohit is asking, how were you able to manage to get your first project? What were the challenges that you faced and how did you overcome all those challenges? I think we can go one by one to both the studios.
So for me, my first project, I would say I was lucky. It was somebody who was known to me. They saw my work, the renovation project that I did for my family. They saw that and they approached me. They had a hotel, so they approached me to renovate 10 suite rooms that they had. So that was my first project. In terms of commercials, honestly, when they asked me how much would I charge for it, I was so excited to do it. I said, I don't really want any money. You can give me whatever you feel like giving. And they gave me, I still remember this is 10 years ago, they gave me 20,000 rupees to do up those 10 suites. It was obviously not on a turnkey basis. I did the designing for them. I did my site visits to oversee how, the progress, but the teams weren't all mine. Yeah, you learn on the job and then gradually, you get more projects and it's different for everybody. But for me, my first project was very small. But for some people, some may feel that it was a big thing to start off with. But yeah, it was good to start off with, I would say. Neither very big nor very small, not something that I couldn't handle or couldn't deliver. So all in all, for me, it was a successful first project.
Yeah, I'm sure you had a lot of fun doing that project.
Absolutely. We did a different theme for each room. And so, yeah, it was fun.
I think first projects are always close to your heart. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the first project and how did you
Our
Aniket?
first project was very difficult for us to get. We didn't know anybody in around us, at least to do their home or office spaces. I had to do quite a bit cold calls, too many cold calls to people who had bought apartments because I was into sales and marketing, and pitch, like I said, pitch them about what, this is the this is the first time I've started this. You at least meet in the whole point on that call was to get a meeting with them, and after that I was confident to close it. It took some time for them to believe in UNI designs. One client we cracked it. It was in Whitefield. I still remember an area in Bangalore. And after that, I think we used the pictures, the on-site pictures, the videos of that space to have it up on our Instagram back in 2016, Facebook. So we got inquiries based on those. Challenges were how to get a client, how to create 3Ds, how to do your working drawings. And it was I was working from home back then. I just had a baby daughter. I was looking after her as well. So I was working from home, and then I could not hire anyone back then. So I had to learn those softwares, and on YouTube, every software for that matter, AutoCAD and your SketchUp, because I had to present it. That was one of the challenges. The softwares, getting the clients, marketing. How do you show the world that you exist? At the same time, I think technical details. These are a few challenges initially, but there are challenges always. Even now, the same challenges prevail.
Yeah, so Aniket was like, आप बस आ जाओ स्टूडियो में, बाकी सब मैं संभाल लूंगा.
नहीं, इतना भी नहीं, वैसे भी नहीं बोला मैंने.
Okay, let's move on to the second question. Yeah, next question. Doing certification course for 6 months and then doing an internship is better, or doing diploma is better? I think the more you know, the better it is. So if you have gathered more knowledge, and it absolutely depends on you also, if you want to know a bit and then explore the field, and then again, start your learning with that, then I think so any answers for that, both of you?
It
Do you
is
think diploma? Yeah.
it is a very competitive world. So, like we mentioned before, even if you're not going with a diploma, you need to have a certain set of skill set that you need to be ready with. And definitely, if you're going to join a firm for internship, there'll be other people who will, of course, be, teamed with a diploma. They will be having a diploma, and then they might always have that edge over you in terms of, say, design or technical skills or mentorship, either of them. So if you really want to stay up in your game, then I think it's always better to learn more.
Yeah.
Said.
True. Okay, the next question is, if we start a studio by own, is it necessary to learn electrical and plumbing drawings or technical drawings?
No.
Absolutely. No, I feel it's important.
I mean, I think when you start, you don't need to, but with time, you'll automatically have to.
Yeah.
You will have to, because you'll be responsible for your clients and for the deliverables. Then you'll get so anxious that I have to deliver this on time, and you'll automatically learn.
Yeah, no, but I feel like plumbing, okay, maybe even if you don't know, it is okay, like as long as you know what is placed where. But I personally, I feel electrical is important because I mean, Aniket and Sonal would agree with me on this, but lighting plays a very important role. Your irrespective of the nature of the project. So and not just lighting, of course, that it's also about where your sockets are placed, etc., etc. But lighting, I'm saying, was lighting is something that everybody understands, and wrong lighting can make even the best of projects look really off. So I personally feel that it is important that even if you don't understand the looping bit of it, but just the right kind of light placements, or the kind of wattage, or the kind of lights that are to be used in a particular space. I think that knowledge, I personally feel, is important.
Yeah. So I think, I understand what Devyani is saying, that, okay, of course, you should know the right type of lighting that you're supposed to use in the project. However, I think the question is around that should you know how to
Start this.
make those drawings? So I think that is something that Aniket is also answering, that even if you're not aware of how do you actually generate those drawings on paper, then I think you will be able to still survive in the studio.
Them for sure. Like even if you can't make them,
Yeah.
you should be able to read those drawings. Like if you're presented with one in front of you, you should know what it says. You can't not know what a drawing is mentioning. Like whether even if it's just reading the symbols, or trying to understand the space, because a lot of times, like if I would present it in front of my mother, she probably wouldn't know whether it's a ceiling electrical plan or a wall electrical plan, or what is going where. Like for her it would just be something which is very jumbled up, right? Like because she's never designed a space for somebody, or she's never had an inclination. And why I'm saying my mother's, because like any other layman, right? But I think it's okay if you don't know how to make it, but you should be able to at least read that drawing.
Yeah. So to be able to understand and differentiate between these are not just lines and dots on a paper, but they mean something. Yeah. So
Right.
that definition should be clear, and that understanding should be there, even if you're not able to generate those drawings by yourself.
No,
Yeah,
I
and definitely some knowledge about lights. What kind of lights are you supposed to? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What does interior designers design? Furnitures, kitchen, cabinets, etc. I think anything and everything in interiors related to interiors. Everything and anything you can design. Yeah. Okay. So there's another question. I recently graduated with a degree in interior design, and I have no prior experience in handling projects. How should I determine the rates for my drawings, and what strategies can I use to effectively manage a side project as a beginner if I also want to pursue freelancing work?
I think the best way would be to maybe start off with getting in touch with a contractor, because you would understand the basic pricing, and then you want to bump that up, or you want to give a percentage of that fee for your execution. That's how I think it's the easiest way to start off, because otherwise it will get really difficult if you're trying to get together all the costs yourself. It's going to be very, very difficult, because there are a lot of things that will go into even a single piece of cabinetry. So getting in touch with some contractor would be the starting point. And then you probably start off with a design fee, and then try to understand the nitty-gritties of it.
And I think there's another question just aligned to this, that how to decide the price of your first design.
Yeah, totally depends on them, how much they want to earn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
depends how confident you are about
It
giving
depends.
your fee to the client.
Yeah, it depends on too many things. I mean, if you've just started and you want to close a deal, then you will just have a little bit margin, or you don't care, you're sure of, no, my designs deserve so much, you'll have X margin. Yeah.
So basically it's about whether you're doing design for a living, or you want to make this your life.
Yeah, I really like that line. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. As an intern, what key factors should I evaluate before applying to a firm? Additionally, from a designer's perspective, what specific aspects should I prioritize when choosing an internship?
I think the kind of projects that you would get to work on, who's going to be your mentor, what all aspects of a project will you be involved in, because every firm has a different way of working. You may or may not be exposed to everything. So I think you can inquire about that. You can inquire about who will you be reporting to directly, whether it'll be the principal designer or the architect or somebody else from the team, and you have to be okay with working with that person, in the sense that if you want to work under the main designer, and if you are not able to report directly to that person, then you may want to look at another option. And so that is, I think, another thing. And then main would be, I think, learning whether you're getting to work on the kind of projects that you would want to work on. Like if you want to specialize in, say, residential, and you go to a firm that does only corporate offices mainly, that might not be the right place for you. And then if you're somebody who wants to try your hands at a little bit of everything, then I think a firm that works across different platforms, across different spaces would be the right fit for you.
And I think now students are like the attendees are getting very direct. What do you think for in a person for internship with you guys?
No. First thing is no DMs on Instagram.
Yeah.
Strictly. And address us by
No
sir,
way.
sir and ma'am. Strictly. You cannot call me Aniket, you cannot call her Sonal. You have to say sir, you have to say ma'am. Then we think about the next steps.
Okay, tell them that you're joking.
No, I'm not. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I'm
No,
serious.
actually, I think it's the way you present yourself also. It is, it totally puts me off to see DMs, especially saying, hey, do you have an internship or do you have a job opportunity? It really gets to me. It's good to be professional, even in the Gen X world that we are living in.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good to be, it's good to be a little trimmed up in the way you present yourself. And of course, apart from everything that we discussed in the whole webinar here about having your skill sets in place, about speaking the design language, about knowing what's happening around your country and around the globe, being up to date, that's, I think, what it calls for to have an internship as well.
And call them
The
sir.
passion. And the passion that you really show.
And the passion, yeah. And what about you, Devyani?
No, I think I agree. DMs are not meant for securing an internship or a job. You have to approach formally, whether it's through email or whatever the medium may be. But I think that has to be done formally. Secondly, if you're called for an interview, whether it's in person or virtually, I think how you present yourself in that interview. I think when I'm interviewing somebody, I also look at their willingness to learn. Like there are people who just want to do an internship because the college that they're going to requires them to do an internship before they can get a formal degree, and then there are people who really want to learn. So I think when you converse with somebody, when you interview somebody, when you talk to them, you get to understand that, and I think that willingness to learn is very important. Also, personally, I feel like a 1 month or 2 month internship is not something that I am okay with. Like I get approached by a lot of people who say we need internship for 1 month or for 2 months, and I just feel that it doesn't work for my studio personally, because what can you learn in a month or 2 months? It's you have weekends in that. It's not like you're working 24 hours a day. You don't even see a project through in a month or two. I think minimum, I think you should work at least for 6 months, for it to be a proper internship. And I think that is also prerequisite. Like when I'm approached, I always tell them that if you are willing to commit for a minimum of 6 months, I'm okay. If you're here for like a month, 2 months or 3 months, then this is not the place for you. Like maybe you should explore elsewhere.
I think Devyani is still being very humble. I remember my time, we were supposed to intern for at least a year. So you're still being humble when you said that, okay, at least 6 months.
The minimum, because anything, I mean, more is always better, but and the chances are that if you're good in those 6 months and your company is looking at hiring, they might just hire you after those 6 months. So there is a possibility that that may also happen. So I think it's beneficial for both, but willingness to learn is very important. I mean, I've had interns in the past who were just coming to the office for the sake of it, and I had to actually tell them that this is not going to work. You have to, I mean, you have to want to learn. You can't just come to the office, kill time and go because you're doing an internship. So I think willingness to learn, and see, because our field is such that no matter how well versed you are with your books or the theory knowledge, practical knowledge is something which is going to help you, and that is not, no college, no institute, no college will teach you that. You have to learn on the job. So that is why practical experience is very important.
And that's why internships hold an importance. Yeah. Okay, with the interest of time, I think we have.
I think, Tavleen, I'll have to leave.
Yeah, okay. So I think we can take up one last question and then maybe we can wind up, and I have to choose now. Yeah, this is for you guys only. For Studio Ipsa, how do you manage budget as you experiment in design in every project? Do you know pricing beforehand? Do you doing anything new, material or design wise?
See, I think we don't know the price beforehand. We follow a simple technique where we keep our clients know at every stage what it could cost. And if you're not aware of it, clear communication is very important. Tell the client, no, we don't know, but we will figure out how much it is. Talk to multiple vendors and get the amount for that. And then we decide to go ahead or not. And for any reason, if you're not able to do it, and if as designers we want to do that, we try to balance it out by cutting down elsewhere. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Okay, I think yeah, we'll have to wind up today's session, as we have already crossed 10, like we have already, it was still 10:30, 8:30, and we are still at, okay, and we still have some questions, but I think some were related to, and I think we also have another webinar on the 19th. You can join us there and we can take up rest of the questions on that day. And but really, thank you for taking out time, Aniketh, Sonal, and Devyani. It was a pleasure talking to you and knowing your journey. And I'm sure our learners also got motivated, and they are also motivated towards starting their own thing, or they are not scared now that if you can do it, then why can't they? Yeah, I'm sure you guys are doing really great work, and we'll also plan something in future so that we can also see some projects of yours. Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you for joining in, and thank you for taking out so much time for us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
very good night. Yeah,
Good night. Bye, Devyani.
Bye. Bye, Aniketh. Bye, Sonal. Bye.
Bye.
thank you everybody for joining in.